Hey guys, Kevin from the Glory of Geeks here, and welcome to Print and Pretzels. We're live. All right, so we're getting our pretzels. I got the rolled gold standard pretzels. Got our hydration source here. A couple of talking points that we're going to go over tonight. So we're going to go over our print from last week that we did on this Phrozen Arco here. We're loving this printer. It's been fantastic. We had to print the file off twice last week. I'll get more into that later. We also got a viewer request from last week that we're going to go through together on a live stream that we're going to try to tackle together about using the eSun translucent veggie and getting it into Orca Slicer. I'll verbally go through that with you step by step, and then later on put that into an editing video on our channel. And then last but not least, we have a bonus file that we've printed off tonight for one of our recurring viewers. Stay tuned for that, and we'll make that announcement later on in this video. So, without further ado, let's get into some print and pretzels. Drop it in the chat if you can hear me. Did some pre-testing for our new setup here. We got a print cam going here. Show you that right now. We can get on to our file review for the Wolverine print. There's a sneak peek there. So last week we decided to push the speed a little bit for the Phrozen Arco, and we wanted to do a bigger print. This is probably about half the build size volume, yeah. But we wanted to do something a little more speedy than we did the first week of here. So we did this. We wanted to keep the quality of this print on the outside. So we kept the speed at about, I think I said 200, 250 for the outer layers. And then for the infill, which is the section on the inside of the print, we sped it up to 500 millimeters per second. Turned out great. We have one issue with this print. And that was, you're not going to be able to see it on camera here too well, but right here where the shoulders are, I don't know what happened. I can't really review the time lapse, but it does seem like there's a little bit of a layer line that appeared on the print. So I was a little confused. I was like, okay, so is it something that happened with the printer? Is it something that happened with the slice? Was it a fluke? So, okay, I mean, you can't hardly tell because of the translucence of this print. And by the way, I don't know if you tuned into that video last week, but when it was coming out of the extruder and coming out of the reel and going into this extruder, it looked green. So ta-da! It's not green. So I'm glad to see that. But it's been a little weird to have a Wolverine print who's yellow, but it turned out to be green. So we got that. So I was like, okay, how do I troubleshoot this problem? If it's the slicer, Orca Slicer is what we use. Do I need to reslice the file? Is it the printer? Let's see if it's the printer. I should just be able to reprint it from the printer itself, and the preloaded file, it should still be on there. Or was it the type of filament? Did something happen with the filament or the nozzle or something along those lines? So where I started from, it's like, all right, I'm going to try a different type of filament. So this was the translucent yellow PLA from Sunlu, and it turned out great. Just that one layer line. If I would have had enough of this, I would have reprinted in this. I should say that as well. But I don't have enough to reprint this in that. I only had one spool, and it took a little over half. But then I was like, okay, so let's try a different type of filament, and still same speed settings. Everything was the same. I went and printed it off in Elegoo's Silk Gold PLA, and this is what we got. You can see it here, but let me turn on the printer cam so you get a close-up view. So this guy turned out immaculate. So this file comes in two pieces, the base piece, and then we've got Wolverine here. And the sheen on this is sick. I was so very happy. This print is by Eastman, I believe. Let me confirm that. I do have it up on my screen on who that is. Is a bus by Eastman. Supports not required because as this prints out, go back to my screen here. This prints out just like this. We printed it out just like this on the Arco here. So I put the base plate up here and then the bust here. Normally I can't do that with my printers because the base plates are so small. I can't fit both files on at the same time at the standard size. This was cool, I could do it. But the sheen and the layers turned out flawless. I can't even tell if there's layer lines in there unless I grab the file and I stare at it. It is absolutely fantastic. I had the standard profile for the 0.2 millimeter layer height and the 0.4 standard nozzle here on the Phrozen Arco. Printed it with the Elegoo Silk PLA profile that is an Orca slicer that you can find, and it turned out so good. I was so happy. I came downstairs and I was like, "Whoa!" And it wasn't green when the filament was coming out, so that was a nice plus. Comparing these two side by side, I don't know if I can get them both on there. So there's the first one, and here's the second one, and here's the first one. We'll put them side by side. You can tell the difference. Let's see if I can get these in here. But you can tell the difference between the silk, how beautiful it turns out, versus just a standard PLA, or like the translucent doesn't reveal as much detail when it comes to lighting and things of that nature. But that silk with the shine that's on the outside, when you print the slow on the outer layers like that, just turns out flawless. So I'm very proud of how the Phrozen Arco handled that print. The way I handled this troubleshooting method, I did not want to automatically assume it was the printer because Phrozen has worked a very long time on this printer, and so I was like, let's try a different filament first. If that's the case, then let's see if if it comes out flawless, then we're good. Reprinted it, no issues. When I was watching it print from time to time, this took about 16 hours. I come down and check on it. I didn't hear any of it hitting the infill, so I don't know if it was the printer not understanding it the first time, or if it was something to do with the filament. So I would definitely rate this print a 10 out of 10. Great job, Phrozen. I am so very proud of this. So a couple of things for announcements for next week. We are going to be live on Wednesday. There's not going to be any issues there, but for Labor Day on Monday, we won't have Princeton Pretzels Mobile Edition. We're going to take some time off and do some upgrades to the studio down here. I'm going to try and get some of this stuff behind me up here cleared up. We're going to get some of our SCADA panels back here, some of them behind our bamboo printer over here, and I'm going to try to get these poles taken out and put it in some shorter ones like I have on the end over there. Just clean everything up and make everything look just very, very, much more professional, I should say. Without further ado, that's our announcement for next week. Happy pre-Labor Day, everyone. Super excited about that. So, last week, we had a reviewer request by Andrew. Andrew, if you're out there, shout out to you. Thanks for dropping that viewer request. He was having a little bit of trouble getting the eSud PEPG profile loaded into Orca Slicer. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take Orca Slicer. I haven't figured out how to show my screen yet on this the Streamlabs platform. I will get to that, I promise, but I will go back and do a screen recording and post this later. But without further ado, let's shrink this camera view here. It's a little large. Make it at the top of the printer there. And let's go over Orca Slicer settings. So when you open up Orca Slicer, you get just the home icon at the top. Then you have prepare, preview, device, and project up at the top bar. Then you have printer right below it. Then you have your printers that are in here. I have the Arco in here loaded. I have the two Elegoo printers that we have in here loaded. And I also have the Bamboo P1S and P1Ps loaded in. So we don't need to mess with any of those settings. What we're trying to do is we're going to go down a couple of blocks where it says filament, and we're going to load in some filament. So there is a little, it looks like a, let's see if I can take a screenshot here, and I'll put it in the chat. It looks like a little paper and pen icon. Don't know if the chat's going to let me do that, but we're going to try. David, yes, that silk is nice. I was super surprised. I have like 2 or 3 rolls of it. I haven't had a use for it yet. Thanks for dropping that in the comments. Good to see you tonight. So, hope you like our new setup. I got new equipment that I dug out of, I shouldn't say new equipment, but I got some equipment that I dug out of storage from when I moved here from Florida to Michigan. We got some things going. I got one more camera. Ideally, I'd like to have cameras in all our printers so you can see in the background from time to time. I can switch to them. You can see what I got on them, ask questions about them. But for this stream, I'd like to hang out with the Phrozen Arco for the most part. So that'll be our focus for this one. Until we get maybe a new printer, or if Phrozen wants to pick us up for the sponsorship for this, that's up to them. But this is our newest printer. I'm having the most fun with it. I am super excited about it. But back to what I was saying. Orco Slicer. There is a pencil with a notepad icon to the right under the filament section. You're going to click that drop or that pencil pad icon. Actually, take that back. You're not going to click that pencil pad icon. You're going to click the drop down menu that says filament selection. There's a little number 1 next to it. That drop down is where it's going to be at. You got to scroll all the way down to the bottom of that drop down. And at the very, very bottom, it's going to say add/remove filament. You're going to select that. When you select that, my computer takes a minute to think, especially with Streamlabs running here. When that goes, I'll let you know. See if we got any messages in the chat here. I get our live stream up here on some of our channels. Some of our friends, we're going to put that on the Phrozen site here. Get this live going here. Gotta get the link for it. Pardon my pausing the stream for a second. Just doing some maintenance here. See if we can get a few more people in on our stream here so they can see the Phrozen Arco with us. Posted on our Facebook page as we're going to hang out tonight. If you haven't checked out our Facebook page, you can see some of the things that we printed. Everything on there we have not everything on there we have on our Etsy, but if you are interested in something that we printed, let us know. Send us a message on Facebook and we can get you hooked up with an order. This out here on our Facebook page, and we're gonna be good to go. So back to Orco Slicer and trying to get this eSun filament loaded in here. So once you get that drop down and the add remove filament button going, the next screen that pops up, there are 2 settings that'll pop up. One says system filaments, and then you can go over to the next tab and it says custom filaments. I stay on system filaments because I don't have a super amount of experience with Orco Slicer. I have some like basic tinkering with it. I just like it because it works with all of our printers here. So you're going to scroll over if you have to scroll over. I don't have to. But you're going to want to select your printer. I select all the printers in there that I have. And then I also select the filament types that I want to do. So I gotta make sure that I have PETG selected. So I do. And then we also want to select the vendor, which I have Bamboo Lab, Polymaker, eSun, and Elegoo and Sunlu all selected. I have not seen any vendors in there for Frozen yet because I know their filaments are more work. I don't know if they have filament profiles yet. If you do know, let me know, and I'll try to see if I can't discover those somewhere and get them loaded in. But so after you select those, you're going to go down and scroll down, and you'll have to, if you want for eSun, I believe it's alphabetical here. Let's see. It is alphabetical. So for eSun, you're going to go to, it's alphabetical up to a certain point. eSun is going to be all the way at the end. And then there's a couple of different options. You have eSun PETG, you have eSun PLA Plus, and then eSun PLA LW. I don't print with LW. I don't remember what that stands for, but I don't have any of that filament type. But I do print with eSun PETG, and I do print with eSun PLA. So I will confirm with that. Now that we've got that loaded in there, and I'm going to pull up our Arco here. I've named it Arceus on our Orca slicer. I'm going to open our filament. I have a hard time with these separations, pre-separated separations, I guess that's what you call it. Elegoo has done a little bit better of a job about putting them a little lower so they get a little more leverage. But for now, I'm going to open it from the center. And you can hear the air go into there. Wow. So the file that we're going to print out tonight, I wanted it to be in the same kind of theme as a bus that we have done so far on the Arco. So, and stay in the same realm of the superhero and the, well, we just have done superheroes / X-Men, mutants. So, I went off and I got a file from Principles. It is called the Sub-Zero Bust from Mortal Kombat. It's by Swotard. I'll put that link in the chat for you guys so you can see what I am about to load up here. I can try to make my mics a little bit louder here on Streamlabs. Is that a little bit better for the mics? Let me know if that's better, Abby. So, back to what I was saying. I'm going to print this file here. I don't know why I can't type in the chat on Streamlabs. I'll go to the YouTube page. Give me just a second. And then we're going to put this in the chat here. That is the file that I'm going to go off and print here with this eSun PETG. I figured since the translucent is supposed to, or the transparent, the clear, is supposed to be kind of cool looking as you print with it. I figured a Sub-Zero was supposed to be about cold. It's supposed to be, I have a different type of PETG, just like a ice blue gradient that I'll print a second one off, kind of like I did here with the Wolverine. And if you like that, you can send us a message on our Facebook. I'll put that in the link here, our Glorious Geeks Facebook. So that way you can message us if you like it. I can send it off to you. Where is the world? It's Carmen Sandiego. Here we go. There's our share button. That's nice. Maybe that. Put that in the description. Here's our Glorious Geeks Facebook in case you want that. Let's get this filament loaded up and this file on over. So much like I did this, I'm going to print the outside. Actually, let's just print it all super fast. It doesn't tell me the speed rating for this, but I'll probably increase it. Something I do need to tell you guys about, there we go, about this system I had set up here in the back for the thing. I did have a little bit of a failure on another print that I've done. It wasn't anything to do with Frozen or anything. It's about how I hooked up the PTFE2. So I had the PTFE2 wrap around the spool up to the top, and well, didn't really think about it, but I guess somehow, I don't know how, there must have been enough retraction where the PTFE tube came off of the roll and went to the back side, and then as it pulled filament out again, it stopped pulling it. So I wound up with having a bunch of air. The print stopped here, and it was supposed to be this tall. I came down here, and it was like, okay, no print. So I'm getting the file loaded up on Orchestrator now. Now that we got the filament loaded into the profile, we should be able to go in there and select our filament type, which would be eSun at G. I can do that. And then the color doesn't really matter so much as long as you get the filament type selected. I will label it as white for transparent. And then I'm going to go to File, Import my 3MF file from the location that I saved it in. We're going to get it loaded up. And I'm going to make this thing bigger. I do believe I'm going to have to support the chin. So I will paint supports on there. Let's make this file bigger first. Instead of printing at 100% size, I'm going to do 200% because we need to get this Arco really, we need a big print. Actually, let's do 250. 250 looks like it'll max out or pretty close to maxing out the width of the Arco. And then probably pretty close to the height. So it looks like there's going to be about an inch gap on each side. And we're definitely going to have to put supports on the chin, but let's see if our auto supports will generate it. So I'm going to do tree auto, and then tree strong. My threshold angle is default is 25 degrees. And I'm going to put my supports on the build plate only checkbox. With PETG, I personally have had issues with it being too adhesive to the print. So when you go to take it off, it can pose issues. So, and I'm going to click the support critical regions only box. So anything that's like sticking off, because I'm just concerned about that chin. And maybe the eyes, but the eyes might be able to get away with. Let's see what generates support it as. Again, I will try to get that screen share figured out for you guys. As you can see, I figured out a couple things since our last live stream. Printing pretzels on Monday nights help me do that. I'm gonna get a printer mount or a camera mount for that cart, so we can get that. David asks, do you change your top Z distance to 0.28 to make supports come off easier? No, I did not know you could do that. Is that something that you do, David, to make them come off easier, especially when you're printing PETG? I had some Yoshis that came that I printed off a little while back. The prints around there are so good, I wound up ripping his jaw off on each one of them. There was 9 of them. They failed, and I was kind of bummed. All right. I think I did see that video from Uncle Jesse. Shout out to you, Uncle Jesse, for helping us community, learning about supports. Let's try that. We're going to take that 0.28 on the top layer height for the Z distance. Top Z distance, it is under the advanced setting. We're going to put 0.28. Thank you again, David, for that recommendation. That is incredible. Hopefully we don't have any issues. Hopefully things turn out well. Every once in a while when I print with PetG, one of my supports won't want to stay on there very well. Excuse me, very well. Like when it's building the support, like I don't know if a layer will slice off or something, but I try to use the strong supports because if you use this, my personal experience is that I use the slim setting, it's just not strong enough to do taller supports. I'm gonna top line over. Oh, stay tuned on our shorts on the channel. We had a pretty epic spaghetti fail today. Without not giving too much away, it did happen in the same filament, so it was super bright on camera. I'm just like, it just keeps going, and it just keeps going. Probably one of my best spaghetti fails. We'll post that as a short probably later in this week after we do some editing and making it look really funny. It's like kind of like a blooper reel. I'm just waiting for the slicer to finish with those setting updates. I'll let you guys know how much filament it's supposed to take, how long it's supposed to print. It would help if I selected the right printer. So I have to go back and re-check my settings because when you switch printers, sometimes the settings won't carry over, but it looks like everything has. 0.28 top Z distance, tree auto, tree strong for the supports. And we are printing this at 250% size. We can actually go bigger than that if we wanted to, but I don't know if one roll of filament would cover that. So we're going to stick with this one. But it is going to be pretty big. Probably, I'm going to go back to my screen here. It's probably going to be, if I had to guess, it's probably going to be that much taller than the Wolverine one. So stay tuned for the second print of that. So next week when you come back, I will have a second print of the Sub-Zero. It's going to be a different type of FG. It's one that I truly love to print in. It's by Strong Hero 3D. It's their blue gradient FG, and it goes from like a light blue to a dark blue, and it just looks very ice-like. If I'm doing a bigger print, David says, I've not tried strong supports. When I do the bigger print, yeah, strong supports take a little bit more filament, but I personally have had better success rates with strong supports. So we've got that going on. But I've done the hybrid ones; those have pretty good success. But I start getting back into those sim support settings to where they don't always go where they're supposed to. Or I shouldn't say they don't go where they're supposed to. They don't form where they're supposed to, or it'll miss a layer or something, and then the support fails. Uh, it's important for me for when I do like our big builds, when we build a build plate on the multicolor printers for like our hatch and stashes. Check those out in our shorts. It's important to support the things there that we need to so that we can maximize those build plates. so that we can get as many of those little critters on there as we possibly can to maximize our bang for our buck with the filament purge. Stay tuned to the 3D printing world because I think we're into another phase where we're gonna go from in 2018 to 2020, we went from single color FDM printers to we started getting into more multicolor. Bamboo was I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe they were the first ones to do it. Now Elegoo's going to release their multicolor. Frozen's with their chroma kit that's coming with this later is doing it. But now some of the other players in the game, Snapmaker, uh, uh, who's the other one with that multi-tool head? Everyone is trying to get rid of the filament purge waste because it is wasteful. I have to have bins underneath my printers here. One day I'll show you where my poop bins are. But in order to not have those filament clogs in the poop chute when I'm printing, because it'll create clogs and it'll knock your printer head off, it'll mess up your prints, and you'll get tons of fails if you don't keep that chute from being clogged up. So the whole printer industry seems to be moving towards that. So I noticed that that has been going on lately. I think Frozen is onto something here with uh, this build plate at the bottom being standard and not moving. Makes it easy to clean too, by the way. That is, I really appreciate that, Frozen. Being able to uh, clean that off, but more importantly, that center of gravity is lower, which I think is going to allow us to print faster. So, well, we got brims on here. I'm not a brim fan unless I absolutely have to. So I'm going to take those off. And I'm going to change our speed settings. I'm going to try printing the internal solid infill at 600 millimeters per second. We'll see if the PET-G can handle it. The outside I'm not changing. The internal and outer, or inner wall and outer wall, I'm not going to change those settings. I'm only changing the internal solid infill speed to 600 millimeters per second. So we should see a pretty, when it goes into the inside, we should see a pretty solid increase of speed. David said, yeah, plus it takes so long to change colors. You were absolutely right. I cannot tell you how much time my printers have probably spent changing colors. So a lot, especially when you get 4 or 5, 6 different colors on one. So the time and the material, if we can eliminate those, uh, that'd be a big plus for the entire industry. All right. So with this setting, the Orca Slicer is telling us that it's going to be 16 hours and 12 minutes for this print. It's going to take 634.34 grams of filament, so a little over a half a roll. Let's get this bad boy going. Uploading now. So I've noticed, I don't know if David, I'm pretty sure you have a Phrozen Arco. When you go to load the filament, or when you upload a file and you're doing a filament change, do you have to push the filament in manually, or does it just automatically take it? Let me switch back to the YouTube screen here so I can see your chat. I also wish there was like a filament clip here to hold it, or PTFE tube clip here to hold it here. This is good back here, but we need another one here. I might move a zip tie over to here to hold it in place so that I can get some force from this way pushing in the filament. I can't push it in any further, so we'll see. David says, I push it in until it hits the extruder, then it just hits extrude to, then just hit extrude to make sure it loads. I don't see the extrude function when I go to do a filament change. Andrew, welcome. We are loaded up the eSun PET G. We're going to print a Sub-Zero bust. I don't know if you've seen our Wolverines here. This was the one that we started printing. It turned out okay. I was a little bummed that there was one layer line in it, but it's it's not green, thankfully, like we were worried about it being. But then I went off and printed it in silk PLA or gold PLA by Elegoo, and it turned out phenomenal. Whatever happened with that one layer line was a fluke, so it's not the printer's fault. Who knows what could have been? I don't know. We're probably still up in the preheating phase. Next week, I'll have to make sure that the printer cam can see the screen too, or the printer screen. David says there is a menu option to extrude and also extrude. I don't use the cutter. I just hit retract to unload. I do use the cutter. I don't know why. I guess I find it efficient to do it that way, but it does make me wonder if I go from PET after this is done. If I go from PET G to PLA, will that, if I don't use the unextrude button, will that PET G, because it's higher temperature printing material, if I use PLA, will it clog the nozzle because it's not hot enough? Something to think about. Let's get our we got the roll gold. I have a hard time pronouncing it. Standard pretzels tonight. I've been trying some of those flavors for the Dots pretzels. Garlic parmesan, spot on. Honey mustard, no thanks. I like honey mustard, but the end of those pretzels, they have a like a twangy mustardy aftertaste, and I'm like, I couldn't get through a bag of those. It was just a small bag. Can you guys hear the audio okay? We're using Streamlabs now. I'm testing out a different setup because I really want to get these live streams going to where you can see the printer, what we're doing. I'll get that screen capture figured out here probably in the next week or so, so you can see what I'm doing on the computer while I'm doing these files and stuff. Um, Andrew, I don't know if you tune in on Monday nights, but I did make an announcement in the earlier, and for those of you that also joined, I did make an announcement earlier that next week, Monday is Labor Day, so we will not have a printed pretzels that day. So we'll miss that week. But we will be doing labor on Labor Day. We will be upgrading some of our studio stuff down here. Get this cleaned up, get some things going. I'm gonna do some upgrades to our P1Ss with the status panels on the side to make them look slick and more storage capabilities. Uh, I'm talking to someone right now on Discord, in the Elegoo Discord, to see if they'll do the same thing for the Elegoo printers. They've got a design right now that they're working on that there's drawer systems that go underneath the printers, but they also have a pegboard system that on the side. That's pretty cool. I like that. It just gives me more utility with the printers. Andrew says, make sure the temps are high enough when loading to extrude the PET G to prevent the clog. The temps drop very quickly once the print starts. Okay, I see what you're saying. Um, And again, we're printing in that clear PET G from eSun. The side of the spool says that the recommended printing temp is 230 degrees Celsius to 250. Bed temp is 75 to 90 degrees. I'll see if I can't get some good lighting down here so I get these cameras showing a little bit better. Hi, Dante. Don't jump on the printer, buddy. Come down here. That's why it's important for us to get that not the chroma key, but the penta shield around this, because we got our furry management team here. As you can see, they like to climb all over our machines. Andrew says I use a cutter more for laziness than anything. I agree with that. It's probably why I use it more. David says, now you remember the Frozen campaign? They stated more colors up to 16, right? Yeah, I remember saying that in the campaign. Um, has that changed? That you've noticed? David says, this is what I see on the Arcos specs on their website now. In asterisks, more color will potentially be made available with future upgrades. So I wonder if they're gonna kind of like what Bamboo did. So that if you just want one of the AMSs, you can just use the standard uh, filament buffer that comes with it, or you can upgrade with the AMS hub. Maybe they're gonna have some sort of like AMS material system chroma kit hub. I don't know, but I'm excited to find out. Andrew said, "I wonder how that they will make that work." I guess it's probably similar to the other prevers I have here. It'll be something that attaches to the back that'll send a filament in from one side, go out the other side. Whenever it tracks, it'll know that another filament can go in through, or some sort of guide channel, buffer guide of some sort. Um, David says, I think when they decided in 4 feed tubes to the extruder, they didn't think it through. They could just change the 4 tube feedings in to be dedicated to a chroma kit, and it would work. They could do that. What I could see them doing, since they have the 4 feeding tubes, and maybe this is what you're talking about, uh, each one of them is dedicated to a chroma kit. So maybe each one of those lines goes to a buffer, uh, and the system somehow detects the differences between buffers, so you don't have uh, 4 of them going at once. Each student, oh yeah. Okay, we're on the same level. I got you. I think that is on. Well, I don't know. We're not big enough channel yet that we have inside of knowledge. Um, but I think they are in the works of something. Most of these printer brands, they do their research, uh, and they're probably always constantly monitoring what the competition's doing. At the end of the day, they do want to get, a bigger market share. Andrew says that if they do it that way, there'll be longer color changes. Um, yeah, potentially longer color changes, which we were talking about earlier. It's not ideal. I wonder if there'll be less purge though. Get away with less purge. Maybe that's could be a trade-off. I think I can get the chat box to. Can you guys see the chat box on the stream? Or is it just me? It's not that one. Oh, no chat box. All right. Also, you guys can kind of see the screen on the Arco um, on the live stream on the big cam. Yeah, this is just when I saw on their site, it said now potentially. I was like, 16 colors would be a lot of tubes. That would be a lot of tubes. I don't know how you'd have to have some sort of tube management system, some sort of guide just to put on the back. Maybe somewhere down the road they change back out of that four feeding system. Uh, four tubes go into a hub or something and come out as one. Then you only have four that go. I don't know. I'm sure the R&D team is already figuring it out. David says I think 8 is the sweet spot. Most of the time I use up to 6. Uh, yeah, I don't think I've used more than 6 or 7 at a time. Even for some of like the Pokemon articulated prints I've seen out there that I've done, I think 6 colors is the most I've used at one time. Maybe 7. But hey, Iceman74, thanks for dropping him. We're here at Printing Pretzels. Uh, doing another file here. We got our Wolverine. He came out pretty good. Our first trial there was a layer line, but we reprinted it off for a test in a new filament because I don't have any more of the translucent. It came out great. Super super excited. I don't think I have seen silk filament print this well. Maybe that's a me thing, but it is super super beautiful. Great job, Elegoo, on this filament. Oh, our announcement for the mystery print that we went off and printed. We have a person that's attended almost all of our live streams. Not here tonight, but your boy Ash. We went off and printed a Deadpool bust for them, and we also did another silk PLA by Elegoo. It's their red black silk PLA, and it turned out phenomenal. This is another one by Eastman. He does really good busts. This turned out great. I love how the purple slash red, it's supposed to be red, but the purplish red came out on the front, and then as it comes to the back, it just turned out so slick. I don't know if I can show you on the printer camera, not here, but It turned out really, 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 really good. It's uh, super slick. Like even the eyeballs came out great. So your boy Ash, we'll get this out to you. Thanks for attending our live stream since the beginning, since before we were, you know, you helped us plan out some of this stuff. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Lynette. We'll get this out to you. Iceman 74. That does look good. Yep. They have a couple of other colors that I want to try. They have a purple black silk. Let's find out. Andrew Croft says, is it printing? Should be. Oh, there's a notification on the screen that says file doesn't exist. I've never seen that before. If you guys have, drop it in the comments. Thanks for pointing that out, guys. I'll reslice the file and send it over. It's weird. The fan's still on. Uploading 90%. I don't know why it would say file doesn't exist. Getting ready. All right, we're going through the process again. See what's going on with that. I don't think I've seen that ever with any of my printers. I wonder what that story's about. Andrew says I have. I think I just ended it over again, but I don't remember. Well, that's what we're trying right now. See if we can make sure that that element's going in there correctly. Oh, I did tell you guys that I would print off that poop bucket, and here it is. I did print her off, which is a basic poop bucket for the back of this thing. It just clips on right here. These slid into it, so I didn't have to glue it, which is nice. I hate gluing files. It's like a pet peeve of mine. So it just clips on there, right below the, right above the poop chute, and then it's just below the poop chute. All right, so got make sure this is printing here. Gotta get this going. Oh, I have it again. It says file doesn't exist. Now I wonder if it's because my first gut feeling is because no, I was gonna say maybe the device storage is full. I haven't had this happen to me yet, so I don't know what is going on with that. But what I'm going to try to do now is I'm going to select it from the actual printer itself to see if it changes it. So I manually selected it from the printer, see if it goes. Could have been a file link. Okay. So if it doesn't go again, I'll change the printer name. That's good to know. You guys are tuning into the live stream. If your file name is too long, it won't accept it from the file. So far, so good though. It's showing up on the screen. If you look at the main cam, you can see on the screen there, the file showed up. I actually think I put the bus backwards on the build plate. So when you see it, it's going to be backwards. So I did get that 30-day email as well. Iceman74, if you have not received your printer and you got that email, I would definitely reach out to Frozen uh, and see if maybe you got that email by mistake, or if let's hope that this didn't occur, but that they sent you your printer and you haven't like actually received it yet, because that would be bad. But I would reach out to them to find out why you received that email. I gave them a good review. I've had no issues with it. I mean, some minor things like that, but this is their first printer. I think they earned a little bit of grace for that. I have not seen any functional flaws yet. All right, let me check the front of the printer again. As I say, there's no functional flaws, so let's make sure it's not. And the file didn't go. So let's try changing that file name. Let's see if that was the culprit. I'm gonna print, and we're just gonna call it Sub-Zero. Upload and print. If that's the case, I'll have to see if I can do some research and figure out what the character limit would be uh, for that file name. Oh, I should have resliced it. I turned it. Oops. So far, so good. The first few times I sent it, it said heating in the nozzle bed and homing, but it didn't say the third step. So I see the third step on there. Let's see if that's a good sign. I think the best sign would be to see that spool spinning. There we go. She's spinning now. If you guys are, oh, we got a whole other hour, so we should get a pretty good amount, especially printing at that 600 millimeter infill. We should get a pretty good amount printed, at least the first few layers. Yep. David says you should get some poop on the back too as it loads the pet Jeep. There it is. Clear poop. You have clear poop. Please go see a doctor. Iceman74 is asking, Andrew, did you have to sign anything recently? I got mine through FedEx. Did you have to sign any FedEx packages for any, for whatever reason? When mine showed up, I had to sign for it. If I wasn't there, I wouldn't have got it. I probably would have had to go pick it up, which I'm super thankful for because I want to make sure I get it. I like to have a couple of these bad boys just because they'll play blind. And it seems to be priced right. Some of the other ones that are coming out right now are at that $1,000 range or just above it for slightly bigger build plate volume. This seems to be in the middle road somewhere. David says, weird, FedEx just dropped mine off in the garage. No signature. That is pretty weird. Guess you're a FedEx person with like, if you're on that level with your FedEx person, I wouldn't think two things about it. I think our UPS person's starting to know me by first name. We got tons of packages arriving here all the time. especially from IKEA. Uh-oh. Please tell me that we got a file printing. Okay, we do. Uh, Once again, it says 117 hours and 40 minutes for this file to print. I was worried because it went back to the back. And here's the sign for FedEx managed delivery. That's the only way I knew I had a package coming. Uh, yes, please don't forget to smash the thumbs up button. That helps the algorithm let us know, or helps the algorithm know that we're here, chilling and hanging out. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. And if you're bored one day, go through our YouTube vlogs and check out some of our videos. Getting those watch hours up is important. So we're getting the first layer down. It's making a little bit of a different hum than it usually does. I wonder if it's because of the different material. Curious. Yeah, they do need to work on the timing thing. So this is the base of the bust. So this bust, instead of being like this one, it prints in two spots. It all prints in one. So I'm curious to see how that happens. Those must have been some really good pretzels because it's an hour into the stream and they're all gone. I guess I like the original roll goals. If you're just tuning in, what we're doing is we're testing out some Pet G on the Frozen Arco. I haven't printed with this on any of this material on this printer yet. I'm very hopeful for it because it handled PLA no problem. Uh, and it's going to be translucent. This was a request from last week from Andrew. He wanted to know how to get that into the Orca slicer in the beginning of the video. We did go over that. So if you want the directions on that, check us out. Republish this video Friday with a little bit of editing on it. So you guys can go over that if you would like. Put that into Orca Slicer, and we loaded it up. We had a couple of issues in the beginning loading up the file. Come to find out, if the file name is too long from slicing from Orca Slicer to your printer, it will not accept the file. Give me 2 seconds here while I change out my light camera or my light battery, as it is notifying me that it's dying. That way you guys can still see my wonderful face. The Iceman74 says I jumped on the Snapmaker train, and so did David. Uh, I don't know how I feel about any of the trains yet. I think we're at a point, and I talked about it a little bit earlier in our video. We're at a junction point here for 3D printing, and in our 3D printing community with these bigger brands. And Jesse hit on it a little bit earlier in the week with his video. Shout out to him for his short on that. Some of them are going the Kickstarter route, some of them are not. We're going to start seeing some innovations, especially when it comes to tool heads and getting rid of filament purge, these little pellets that come out of here is when you have hundreds and hundreds of filament swaps. You have 100 layers, 3 colors in each layer. It can add up. I got there's supposedly dog food bins below my printers so that I can handle it so I don't get poop clogs. It's this standard problem the industry is having. Some printer brands have tried to tackle it already. I'm not gonna pass any reviews on that. I know it's a problem. There's a filament recycler out there that's, I think it's called Loop, that I don't know much about, but there's different things trying to tackle, or different companies trying to tackle this problem. And I think tackling it at the source, at the printer, is going to be the best way to do it. It's going to save material and it's going to save time because you're not constantly swapping between those colors. It takes sometimes, depending on how long it's got to purge, 1 to 2 to 3, maybe even longer between that. And then you don't get the print fails that you get when if the poop chute does get clogged. Andrew says, not sure if this is right, but basic research seems to be 64 characters for a file name length. For some printers, might be the same here. I would be surprised if the file length that I had earlier was 64 characters. I think it was somewhere between the 40 and 50, but maybe it was. I'll definitely try that out. Maybe in the next live stream, we'll put it at like 65 and see what happens. Like 1 through 65. I'll put that on a paste before I do that. David says fast multicolor with minimum waste, so you don't have to print multiples to justify the waste. I also agree with that. I would love to be able to print one of these in multicolor and not have a pile of waste at the end. Because then I want to print something that's going to cost me a roll of filament, and then I also have a roll of filament and waste. It's like I can't justify the cost, especially since I myself do like to go and sell things at art fairs and different things in our community. I don't really do any of the big ones yet, but maybe someday I will. I don't know. I love supporting people on Patreon. Shout out to 3D Gob. Shout out to Cinderwing. She creates great things. 3D Gob creates great things. All those little fidget things that we see up on our channel here for our Hatch and Stash. You can check out our shorts videos. We love to do those types of things for the kids and stuff. Here in November, we're going to go to a kids elementary school, and we'll have our little print and pretzels rolling cart with A1 Mini on it, and they'll be able to experience 3D printing. And we're going to go also with our blacklight box in there, so they'll get to not only they'll get to see the prints, but they'll get to see the types of different materials that you can print in, and that they can glow. Some of them can even glow in the dark. So we're excited about the things we're going to bring to our local community here. And maybe someday, if we get big enough, we can spread that joy to others. So our first layer is kind of interesting. It does look like the Pet G is it's got like this white crustiness on it. Let me check the temperature on the front. Yeah, I think we're printing to, I don't know why, but it says 201 degrees. I don't think that's hot enough. So temperature, we're gonna change the temperature nozzle. I think it's that G code that you talked about before, David. I don't know if I've edited that yet, so we're gonna change it to 220, maybe. 220. See if I get a little bit better. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. So I'm gonna stop this print. So I'm gonna have to go back. We're gonna stop this print. Maybe here it is. The will stop button. So shout out to David, and I didn't get around to changing it, which this just reminds me. The G code start for the profile that you load up manually for Orca Slicer has all the filaments start out at 200 degrees, and Pet G needs to be more than that. I'm gonna have to scrape this off the bed. It's not see a little bit of troubleshooting here. You can see, actually, let me show you guys a little bit better. So you can see how it was kind of stringing, and it wasn't quite hot enough to do what it needs to do. Let me have the build here. Maybe. This is where I wish I had an additional build plate of this size to do this. Here we go. So we're going to peel this off, peel off the support section like that. I use a standard paint scraper for this because I don't want to damage the build plate too much. And it's not too sharp, but it's just enough to get out of the layers. I know you can print one kind of like that. And I am going to do my standard practice of, let me show you guys on camera. Don't do this at home, kids, unless you're, well, I can't even say if you're professional because I'm not a professional. Build plate, hairspray. Let's see if I can go. I'm going to go over here, left, here. I spray it, and I'll put it back. Clear those off right there. Put that on there. So, David says, Frozen fixed the start G code if you download the profile. I'm going to have to do that. I'll do that after the live stream today. I will restart this print from the machine, but I will make sure that I adjust the temperature as it goes. Sub-zero G code. We're going to click print. I just need to make sure I monitor it so as it does the first layer, it doesn't do this again. Hey, luckily for me, yes. A right there. So it's reprinting. These are all lessons we get to learn together, guys. Pretty cool. I'll set these up here for now. If you guys know anywhere where I can find Frozen link box, I would love to put one up here with our Frozen printer somewhere. I'm going to put some up here for our other printers and their brands so that they can be displayed nicely. That'll be part of our Labor Day activities. I know you're supposed to not, so when Labor Day is not to work, but that's when we get time to do this. Let's take care of this. So this is part of the SCADA stuff I'm talking about. So I printed off a can holder and I can put the red on the side of my other printers. Someday I hope that the Phrozen Arco has accessories like this all over its enclosure. Modular storage is nice to have. Now we're extruding, so now I'm going to go over here and see if I can adjust the temperature manually. Nope, not yet. Looks like after it does its preparation, I should be able to do it. Let's see. I'll probably try 235 for this moment, somewhere in the middle. This is another stand that I'm going to use for another camera. Let's see. Still not able to adjust the temperature. I wonder if I can do it in an Orca slicer. Under the device tab. It does say I can, but I'm gonna wait until it actually gets to the printing layer. Right now it only says, okay, there it's going at the target 100, 200. We're gonna go to 235 and change it. You can change it on the, maybe you can. It gives you the option to change it, but maybe it's got to reach temperature before you can change it. This is on the device tab in Orca Slicer. So no, it's not letting me. Still trying to purge some poop. I printed at Pet G at the upper end of the temps. I think it was around 250 is what Andrew says. So all the Pet G that I've used, which is from Sunlu and Elegoo, the golden number was somewhere between 240 and 245. All right, so now we're moving. I'm gonna adjust that. If I can't do it in Orca Slicer, I'm gonna do it in. Nope, it let me do it. So I'm gonna do the same number that I do in the other slicers. For the other film, that's 245 is what I'm gonna set it at. Then we shouldn't see any of the failed bed adhesion and stuff like that. I'll get that start G code changed. That's weird how it automatically starts at 200. So that means that the silk filament that I did printed at 200, both of them. That's interesting. PLA is not really too much of an issue, though, I don't think. What do you think with silk it would be? So far, so good. Yeah, we're not getting any of that. This is truly translucent. It's not. I don't see any of that. Uh, it almost looks white. Much, much better. 245 was the digits. So as we go with that, let's see what we're doing on time here. Oh, we're doing great. So we've shot some of the things that we ran into while we're live. Other people can run into these, and we can definitely show them our errors. If you weren't with us in the beginning of the live stream, we did print with those Wolverine busts. They're up here now. They turned out great. The first one was, it had one flaw in it, it had one layer line in it. Uh, all in all, I would say it was a success. The translucent is a little bit different for a bust, but I wanted to see if it would look cool as a bust. This is the only roll of that Sunlu yellow translucent I had. It went off and printed a second one in the Elegoo Silk Gold PLA, and that one turned out absolutely gorgeous. I'm super happy about that. All here on the Phrozen Arco. Haven't really ran into any mechanical issues with this printer. Its build volume is phenomenal. I'm so glad I can print bigger things now. Now I can't wait to get that chroma kit, get those colors going on here. And for our furry members, some safety here for the vent shield. I wonder which one of those we'll get first. Dave is asking if his printer shows the change temp on the front of it. It sure does. It's saying 245. And the adhesion looks much better. It's translucent like it's supposed to be. Unfortunately, when I oriented the file on the build plate, I oriented it that way towards my left or right. So as it builds it, we won't get to see too much of it. But what I want to see is after this first layer, that speed picked up on the inside. I cranked it up to 600. That'll probably be the fastest I've ever printed in PETG. I want to see if one, the filament can handle it, and two, if the Arco can handle it. I want to see how much of that shaking can go on the table here, because it should be pretty easy to shake this table, because it's on casters. If you guys tuned in last week, uh, drop it in the comments. Actually, let me just put it out as a poll. Those of you that attended last week, do you enjoy the new camera setup? Does it appear better on your end? Does the audio come across better? Always trying to learn something new to be able to demonstrate things to you all. In case you haven't noticed, I am brandy when it comes to tools. I like my Cobalt tools. Even some of the camera equipment I've had that are supposedly made for construction, but using for camera mounts. It's pretty cool. Yeah, that first layer looks way different. I don't know if you can see it on camera or not. Yeah, I'm looking at the printer cam, and it's not doing it justice. So I don't know if I wasn't looking at it the first time, but from my perspective, it looks clear. Like it looks like almost like black ice for those of us that live up north. Exciting, exciting, exciting. We're almost done with the first layer, and then once we get past that, really hoping we start seeing some of that speed for the infill. I'm keeping the outside 200 millimeters per second just to keep the quality. My guess is going to be though is we won't see as much detail if it's anything like the translucent yellow, the Wolverine bust. We'll lose some of that detail because of the translucency. But I will print off another one of these in the blue gradient from Strong Hero Pet G, Strong Hero 3D Pet G. I really like that filament a lot. They have a blue gradient, they have a red gradient, they have a rainbow one that I did a giant dragon egg in. You can check that out in our 5 useful dragon prints video. Yeah, look at it. It's cranking it out now. Okay. Okay, we're shaking the table a little bit, but nothing Nothing wild. So let me not brace myself on the table. Not really. I'm not really getting any vibrations on the table. The table's not shaking. That's nice. That's really nice. And it's quiet too. Again, I would have pushed this a little bit faster if I knew that G could handle a little bit more. As far as I'm aware of, I don't think I've seen any G that's rated for anything faster than 600 millimeters per second, but I could be wrong. I'll hold me to that. I've only printed in a few different brands of G. There may be some optimized out there for faster printing, but it seems like it's holding up pretty good. It's quiet. That flying gantry is nice. Yeah, you can really see it on the live stream now. Looking at it on YouTube, and you can see the printer head moving pretty well now, and it's not shaking the table at all. That's exciting. We got another 45 minutes too for the live stream, so we should get some pretty good height out of this. I would think when it comes to the build plate or the layers, the number of layers will get locked in. Comments. So if you guys have the Frozen Arco, what's the biggest thing you've printed on it so far? The biggest thing so far before this is these Wolverine busts that I printed. Uh, I've also printed some of the Gridfinity bins. Those are pretty tall too. The tail that I was talking about earlier is I was printing three Gridfinity bins at once. Uh, and it got about a third of the way up, and it was my error, not the printer's. That I did that PTFT tube that wrapped around to the top of the spool, and it got caught. That was on me, not the printer. Printer's doing great, and it's cruising. Uh, I'm gonna see if I can't get like a 3 kilogram roll of PLA from somewhere, so that I can do like a big build volume print. Maybe do like 6 Gridfinity bins at one time. See how that turns out. Because I want to do like a max filled volume one of these weeks. Yeah, that printer cam is pretty happy with that. Turned out pretty good. I'm gonna close that fold off. It's like everybody says it is an improvement. Thank you very much for that. If you have any suggestions for files, you can email them to me at thegloriousgeeks01, thegloriousgeeks01 at gmail.com. For our A1 mini card, I need like something printable for on the A1 mini that we can put our webcam on that either clips onto the card or clips onto the printer. And it's the Logitech C920 series camera. I would really like to be able to get similar kind of setup going on there to what's going on with here and see what's going on with the printer. You guys can spot a fail if I don't spot it. Loving this print. It's quiet. I don't even hardly hear the fans kicking on. Those layers are going down like butter. Like my Centauri Carbon, if it was going this fast, that fan definitely would have kicked on by now. All right, now we're doing the actual infill. So we've done the base layers. Now we're generating the infill. Holy cow, it's flying. So it looks like we got a couple of boobers that popped off the pet G. I'm not sure they're going to cause an issue. I think the nozzle might pick them up on the way. I'm going to go to eSun's website and see what the recommended printing speed is for this pet G. Filament, pet G. Probably should have done this ahead of time. Learning. eSun, pet G. We're definitely going faster than what they recommend. So eSun recommends that this pet G is less than or equal to 260 millimeters per second for reference. That is the speed of the outer layer, not what's going in the infill. So we're going about twice the speed as they would recommend for the infill. And I can see some of the layers are having a hard time sticking. Or some of the infills having a hard time sticking. It's extruding great, but I don't think the layers are having enough time to cool down in between. I'll put another pull out there, see if we should reslice this file for the correct infill speed. You guys think, or should we let it go? Oops, that's not a pull. So everybody's torn 50-50 for the pull so far. Now our infill has changed a little bit. I can definitely, there are some sections you can see. It's hard to tell because it looks white on the print camera, but there are some sections of the infill that I've not really like stuck. and then they're peeling up. So yeah, I think we gotta stop this one, guys, unfortunately, because now we're getting some of the infill peeling up. So let's stop this print, reslice, and get this right. Want that build plate to cool off a little bit. It was good to see that the printer was moving that fast. All right, let's reslice this. We're gonna go back, and it says less than 260 millimeters per second. So we're gonna go back into our internal solid infill. We're gonna go back, and we're gonna put it right at their 260. Reslice this guy. I'm gonna turn him the right direction so that you guys can see him. And we go to print them. Should be cooled down enough now for me to touch it. Yeah, okay. Not completely cooled off, but it's enough for me to grab it. This out of the way here. Peel it off of there. Throw it in my little waste bin underneath here. Or patented hairspray technique off this canvas here. So welcome to our first fail on camera. I hope you guys are enjoying that. All right, still got the same 16 hours and 12 minutes, so it doesn't look like that actually made that big of a difference for print speed. Took about 40 minutes off of it, or added 40 minutes, I think. So sub 02, upload and print. Now, this time, what should happen is it should not have that issue with the infill. We should not have any of that issue with the peeling up off of it as it's going. That should be enough for it to adhere to itself, according to eSun's filament specs on our website. The recommended extruder temp is 250 to 270. I will have to change that extruder temp as it starts. I don't forget about that. Hi, Momo. Are you joining the live stream tonight? Are you saying hi to everybody? Say hi. Say hi, buddy. Come on, buddy. Come on over here. Stay away from the printer door. You want to get your tail caught in there. All right. You are correct, David. It is not a failure. It is an experiment. We are experimenting and seeing how what we can do and push this machine, and maybe we can. If you guys know of any filaments for PETG that can go that fast, I would love to try some out. Iceman74 says, I've seen in the Phrozen group, people are having issues with PETG in this. If that's the case, we're going to figure it out. What kind of issues have you seen, Iceman? Science Sniper, it is nice to meet you. Thanks for dropping in to the live stream. We're trying out some PETG here on the Phrozen Arco. Had a couple of issues to start with. We've also noticed that the start G code, it starts out automatically at 200 no matter what filament you have. If you have the new slicer profile, which I don't, from Phrozen, it won't have that arrow in there anymore. Hi, Momo. And again, it looks like Iceman says that there's some other peeling off the build plates. I'm hoping that because I'm using the hairspray, I won't have that issue, but we'll find out once we can get it to print long enough for it. So, and I'll cover it again next week if it doesn't, we don't get to cover it on this live stream. Orca Slicer, let's see what the device tab says. we got on our screen up here. What we got up here, Momo? Don't jump up there, buddy. No, stay away from the camera. I know you want to be on the camera. Okay, it looks like I filed it. Transfer over. So we're gonna try one more time. So come on, buddy. There you go. Good job. Say thanks for saying hi. So Sub-Zero 3. Well, are you coming back for some more? Are you coming back for some more, buddy? All right. You just want to be on camera for the whole world to see. All right, it's loading the file again. We also noticed earlier in the live stream that there is possibly a character limit for this printer when you go to upload your file. If it's over a certain length, I haven't identified what the length is yet. There we go. It should be going now. Uh, it won't accept your file. It'll say it hasn't found a file. Huh. Still says it doesn't have a file. That's weird. Maybe I'll delete the old ones out of there. Maybe it's having an issue with it. Storage. It's on there. Okay. For whatever reason with this file, I can send it, but it doesn't generate it to start the print. Now that I manually started it twice now. I have to select it off the screen menu. I don't know if that's something new, but I haven't had that issue except for this particular file. So if it happens again on the live stream next week, then I'll have to reach out to Phrozen or somebody to see if. David Walton says, I saw something where they said if you used up the internal memory from printing, it could do a factory reset. I have seen that. That's why I've been trying to make sure it doesn't use up the internal memory. Because I've heard that that factory reset can really be rough on your printer. Where you going, buddy? Where you going? You're getting cat hair all over me. Say you're preparing for winter. Yeah, you're preparing for winter. All right, we're going. We're going. So, are we gonna extrude now, or are we gonna try to? What are we doing? Let's see what that device tag says. This. All right, we're preheating to 235, so I'm gonna change that to 245. That seemed like it. We'll do 250 because that was what the minimum temperature said on the eSign website. You saying hi to everyone, buddy? You know, you saying hi to everyone? Yeah. Put this over here. Some of the other things that we're printing right now, I do actually have another PETG print going. It is a fidget spinner, one of those collapsible katanas. We'll drop a short on the YouTube channel probably later this week for it. Super cool. I printed that out for a customer that was a request by them. Hey, don't mess with that camera. That's not nice. That's not nice. I printed that out for them. I'm gonna drop that off to them. It's really cool. I printed off some of the collapsible katanas for the art fair that we went to, and if they were hits. And then probably a week later, I saw this one out there, and it's pretty neat. Let me go see if I can't find that file for you guys. It's on Maker World. Oh, you're back for more, huh? Back for more? Don't mess with the cameras, bud. Don't mess with the cameras. Fidget katana is what I searched. Where you going? Yep. So it's called Collapsible Katana, the Celestial one. I will put this in the chat in case any of you are curious. I'm printing one of these right now. I'm printing the handle in PETG and the blade in PLA, and they turned out good so far. I printed one, has no issues. So that's something else that we've printed right now. You can see you guys. Hey, no, hey, you can't go by that printer. You can't go by that. Nope. That's the file right there in the chat. I thought it was really cool. They have like a safety feature built into them too, so like if the blade ever gets stuck, it pops out the back. You wear gloves for punishment, everybody. Does printer show you the change temp? Thank you for keeping me on par for that. Let me get that going. Worker slicer device tab. Nope, I went back to 200, so let's get that 250. Thank you for keeping me on there. Looks like you can't actually adjust the temperature until it actually goes to start the first layer. I really gotta get that G code changed, or more or less re-download Orca Slicer with the actual Frozen profile, so you can adjust the G code based on the filament profile you have. Well, you knocked it over, Mo. Good job. Good job, buddy. And now it's pooping out filament. I wonder if YouTube's gonna like me for how many times I say poop on this live stream. All right. Yeah, you can't adjust the temperature in Orca Slicer until it starts to actually come out on the bed to start printing. Now it's target at 250. Shouldn't be any issue. That infill speed should be changed. Havoc prints, just seeing this printer for the first time. This is the Phrozen Arco. This was a Kickstarter that Phrozen did about a year and a half, 2 years ago. Us backers are just now getting them. We're super excited about this. It's a multicolored printer, but the biggest thing I like about this printer is the build plate is stationary. It makes the center of gravity lower. It makes it more stable. It makes it a lot quieter. The part that moves on this one is the gantry. Gantry goes up and down. It's got 4 of these Z-axis rods. It's super nice. This will also have 4-color printing, possibly more here later in the next couple months. As soon as Frozen gets those out, gets those out to us, and we'll have those on here for us to review. Also has an enclosure system. I would not have gotten this printer if it didn't, because my furry employees here, they need all the protection that they can get. When it comes to that stuff, they're always on top of my Centauri carbons and my baby P1Ss. So they have lots of fun on their printer jungle gyms. But that is that is what this printer is. It is the Phrozen Arco. It's Frozen's entry into the FDM world. They started out in resin printer. They have some great resin printers. And now they're entering into the FDM world because the FDM world is getting much bigger than what it used to be. It used to be resin was a big thing, and now with the ability to multicolor print, just I think we've changed the game. If you're tuning in just now, something I talked about a little bit earlier in the live stream, I'll recap it here. I think the 3D printing world is really starting to go in, especially the FDM world. It's really going to start getting into how do we solve the waste problem. I don't know, you probably can't really see right now after the little bit of remodeling I do on Labor Day, you'll be able to see them better. But I have big old poop bins below my printer so that they don't clog and cause fails when I'm doing hundreds and hundreds of color changes for a single build plate print. So what the FDM world is getting into now is how do we eliminate that waste? How do we eliminate the time it takes and the filament material that we're wasting when we do our color changes? So we'll be able to print, like I was showing earlier, our busts in 7 colors and not have more waste than it's worth to print them in. So that's kind of what the world is, FDM world is going into. We had some releases by Bamboo. We've had some releases by Snapmaker on Kickstarter. We've seen a lot of different things come in. just in the last week. I think there'll be some announcements from Elavoo here shortly about their multicolor system. We'll get some announcements about the Chroma kit that is Frozen's multicolor system. I'm really excited about where the FDM printers are coming in at. Hopefully we can get a few more printers down here so that you guys can see. One of my goals is to have a print camera, a live stream camera on each printer, so we can swap between all of them. If I'm live streaming, maybe you guys will see a print failure in the process, and we can stop and troubleshoot it together. My goal is to build this community together and just printing pretzels, hanging out together, and enjoying time with one another, and learning from each other. It's important to do that because this is a hobby for most people, and it's important to just just hang out, right, Momo? Just like you're doing right now, just hanging out. You saying hi to everybody out there, buddy? Hmm? Yeah. So something that you guys don't see off camera, I have like 4 or 5 different robots that go down around out here. They pick up. I don't know if they pick up more poop pellets or if they pick up more cat hair. So I don't know. Havoc Princess. So Frozen Chroma Kit isn't the same as the multi-extruder one then. Uh, when you say multi-extruder, this only has one extruder. The multi, the Chroma Kit is going to have 4 tubes that go into this. Uh, I believe it goes into one extruder, but I could be wrong. Let's look at the Frozen website real quick just to make sure. So Frozen Arco, US store. Let's get out of that pop-up. Yeah, they're big. Patented extrusion for faster, cleaner swaps. So, in third place. Efficient filament switching with 4 filament feed tubes. So yes, the 4 filament feed tubes near the extruder switching system reduce filament travel, shortening load time, and making filament changes up to 50% faster than common 401 systems. And the picture that they show is that 4 filament tubes feeding in to the nozzle. Kind of like, I don't know if you've seen the A1 Mini, but it's the same vibe I get. 4 going into one tube or one nozzle. Co-print chroma kit. I don't know if I've ever have it prints. I don't know if I've ever heard of the co-print chroma kit. Is that something that uh, Frozen's put out? As far as I'm aware, this is their first entry into the FDM. Whereas co-print a brand. Let's see. Oh. Okay, so okay, I see what you're saying. I'm looking it up right now. Multicolor upgrades for 3D printer. Co-print 3D. So what he's talking about right now, I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'll put it in the live chat. So that is Havoc prints. I'm pretty sure that's what you're talking about there. In that. So I don't know too much about them, but it does appear that it's a very similar system. You have, yep, okay, I just saw that pop up or that slide there. Multicolor upgrade kit, co-print with Creality, okay. So it does look like it is made for the bed slingers, where the beds move back and forth, but it looks like it turns your one nozzle into 4 colors. It does look like a similar system, but I don't know. That system doesn't look like it's a uh, doesn't look like it's an enclosed system like the AMSs are. So the Chroma kit, let me see if they Frozen has it on their website yet. I'll give you a link to it. 3D printers, 3D scanners, FDM printers. Come on, accessories maybe. There it is, Chroma kit. So the chroma kit, and I'm about to drop it in the description or the chat. So the chroma kit, what I really like about that is it's going to be your AMS system. It's going to be a filament dryer too. So, and you can, from what I understand, you're going to be able to dry while you print. With the AMS 2 Pro that came out from Bamboo, you can't do that. You can't dry while you print. I did purchase some of the Sunlu upgrades for the original AMS. When those get here in October, I will do a review video on those. So I can dry while I print. That's especially important when you're printing in materials like PETG, PETG, that or filaments that any sort of moisture can cause problems. So that's important for that. That Turkish company that you pointed out there, I am interested in that because it's got potential for the bed slingers. I do have a couple Neptune 4 Pros that I could see that potentially working with. That would be excellent to see. If it works with Creality, maybe a little expanded to the other printers, but that is a pretty neat thing that they're doing there. Yeah, no box for the extruders and filament. So far, the first couple layers, or first layers, gone down good. It went down translucent just like it did the first time. Still got a flawless second layer. When it starts generating the infill, that's when we'll be able to tell if the setting changes to effect and if they're working or not. I did slow it down by 400 millimeters per second, roughly. Their tool head looks huge. Are you talking about Frozen or are you talking about co-print? You're talking about the Frozen head. It is a little bit bigger than I would say the Bamboo P1Ss or even the LED Centauri Carbons, which is a little bit bigger than the other one. But what I will say is it's a heck of a lot quieter. Uh, I'm listening to my P1S go right now, and like I can hear it rattling around in there, and I hear a little bit of machine noise, like guessing the servo motors, if that's what those are in there. It's it's quieter. I don't even hear hardly the fan going. I'm talking to you while I'm on the live stream, and I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but I can't hardly hear the fan at all. Uh, I don't hear the vibrations that I do hear from those printers. I'll have it print. You're fine. No, no. This is what this is for. This is for we're a learning community. We're we're doing our newest member of the family here, our Phrozen Arco. I'm really enjoying printing with this bad boy. So you have nothing to worry about. This is the community driven. We want to learn together. Uh, I'm not sponsored by anybody, so we don't have to worry about that. Keeping on track with sponsorships. Not yet, anyways. We'll see if we get big enough someday to get a sponsor. But to help us get there, if you want to like and subscribe here on Facebook, we'd appreciate that. Do get that good YouTube algorithm out there for us. So far, so good for this third layer. It's I think tweaking that setting has really done it. Don't go in there, Momo. Great job, buddy. Our cats are pretty smart. They know when they're safe or not safe. Any moving parts they stay away from, but I still don't trust it if I'm not down here. Uh, yeah. Ken tested, Momo approved. Thanks, Momo. Both. You said both print extruders look big. As far as the co-print one, I don't. It's hard to tell because I haven't chroma head. Yeah, I do say that. Just even, this is my initial like judging on the print nozzle, the head system. It looks overly large for that size of printer, and the filament system looks smaller. Maybe it's made for like for even the smaller rolls of filament. Oh, thanks, Havoc Prince. I appreciate that. The subscription. All right. Yeah, we're just hanging out. You can watch us on Monday nights. It won't be this Monday night because of Labor Day. We'll be doing some upgrades to the studio here. But usually on Monday nights, I travel for work early Monday morning. So Monday night, I stay in a night hotel, and we're building this A1 Mini cart out full of tools and upgrading our printer as we go, printing out things. And the goal for that is to be able to print anywhere. I've reached out to Anchor's Solix to see if we can get like one of the batteries from them, put it on the card so that when I go into work during the day, my printer can still keep going in the truck. That's one of the print tests that we're talking about there. Uh, just making the best of return to work orders, uh, making the best of that world. So far, for this infill, it's doing better. We still got a couple of goobers. So I will say I'm gonna have to acknowledge with the community that PNG so far is a little bit rough. So those goobers are gonna be the same problem that we had before. So what I might do here is swap out to a PETG that is more that I know more. I don't really know Easton's PETG more. I do know Sunlu's PETG and I do know Elobu's PETG. Those print optimally at 245. Yeah, our infill layers aren't generating properly. Havoc prints. I'm gonna have to look further into this printer. Please do, please do. Uh, I'm super excited about this, especially for all the upgrades that are gonna be coming to us for this. We're gonna be covering this one for a while. I'm gonna stop this print, and we're gonna print this in another filament that I have to see if it's the filament that was causing the issue. I might drop the speed a little bit more too. So I have Strong Hero 3D. Elegoo White Rapid Pen. I know at 245 this filament handles it like a champ. So, much like we talked about earlier in the live stream, I'm lazy when it comes to these filament slots. So what I'll do is I'll push the filament cutter just like that. And I'll just roll it on up out of there. I'll do more testing with this filament with some of our other printers that I know a little bit more about to see if there's any differences. And I'll let you guys know that next week. Now, I'll print one of those katanas that I was talking about earlier in this filament on our Elegoo Centauri carbon because I know I just printed off some of that stuff on that printer. So I should be able to load that up and it should be just fine. If I have any issues, I'll let you guys know in next week's live stream. Let's get this loaded up and see if this makes a difference. Gotta clear the build plate off. I wish there was an automatic material system that would load this for me. It's coming. Chroma Kit's coming, guys. It'll be here soon enough. So that was pretty good bed adhesion. I don't see that coming off there. Again, I'm going to oops, sorry guys. I use hairspray for those of you that just joined us. I spray it away from the printer, about 6 feet away. You can probably just barely see me on camera right now. Put that back on here. I'll load up this Elegoo rapid PET. I'm gonna have to change that temperature again after it starts. I'm gonna change the filament profile to Elegoo uh, PET. I'm going to reslice this file. That should change all the settings into the proper ones for that filament, including the speed. Let me wrap this up so it doesn't get everywhere. The cats have a tendency to want to play with the ends of the filament. They're funny. So it did increase the print time by about an hour. So we're going to print a little bit slower. I'm sending this over to the printer. Sub 04. Upload and print. Thanks, guys, for hanging in with me here, troubleshooting this pet gene here. Maybe some of you guys that are out there in that forum can use this as we troubleshoot this. If this is a major issue, we'll do this multiple weeks until we get a profile that really works with it. Okay, so it's completed. For some reason with this file, I have to manually select it on the printer after it goes through this process. I don't know if you guys can see that screen or not. We get back to the comment section to make sure I'm updated with you guys. Andrew Crobb, glad it's not just me who had problems. No, it looks like PETG is kind of a tougher one to do. I'm wondering if it'll get better with the enclosure because I don't have any problems with PETG with my enclosed machines. So I'm wondering if when we get the Pentashield, that's what they're calling it for Frozen, if that controlled climate helps with that. And that was a brand new roll filament, so it shouldn't have, like I just ordered this off of Amazon last live stream to have it here. So it should be no uh, moisture wrapped up in this filament. Same thing with the Elegoo that I just put out in the machine. That should have no issue printing. I just opened that bag of filament. Should be good to go there. I gotta make sure it goes in there properly. Sometimes it doesn't want to load. I'm sure when we get the multicolor system, their AMS will automatically load these just fine. It's down to the toolhead, so it should automatically load now. Every once in a while, I won't push it in far enough, and I'll get like ghost printing because I didn't push it down there. So it's extruding and clear out right now. See it coming out. I can't forget to adjust that temperature to 245. I know that's the or 235, sorry. The recommendations on the side of the spool are 230 to 260. My experience with the PETG or PETG, 260 is a little too hot. But again, that experience is in the enclosures. Right now we're, I think, heating up the nozzle. See what, make sure we've got the stream going here. Yeah, we're good. Printing. It says 93 hours, guys. Oh my goodness, that's the longest print I've ever printed. I'm assuming at some point in time, Frozen will get that updated as a firmware update to get that to calculate correctly. Hi, Riley. Did you wake up from your nap? All right, so now it's moving. Let's see if we can't get that adjusted, temperature adjusted. Yep, the clear's been extruded. So it's getting ready to print. Maybe. Yeah, I think it wipes the nozzle off and then it goes. If this filament works, then I'll try the blue gradient from Strong Hero 3D. That was that's a nice filament. It would look really good with this Sub-Zero bust. It make him look like he's made out of ice. One of the things I am thankful for this that the printers behind me, the Centauri Carbons or the P1Ss, they didn't come with a chain guide on top for this. I'm glad to see that some brand out there decided that that was a good idea. I'd like to see that more as part of the industry standard instead of us having to print it afterwards. I think we got to do that for my A1 Mini. All the upgrades you got to do to that for quality of life is Havoc print. So there still is not a ton of info available for this print. No. So what I can offer you, Havoc prints, is I will give you the website for this, and I'll also give you the Kickstarter link if the company's still available. 3D printers, Arco. Here is the link for the website. Let me go to Kickstarter. See if I can't get you that link for that. I think it has a video on it. There you go. I'll send this to you. Oops. It's actually not clicked out of the URL. Refresh this page. So it was released a while ago. I don't know if it tells you here. Yeah. That's when it was last updated. It was last updated August 8th. I don't know if it tells you on here when it was project took place, but here is that Kickstarter link. Yeah, I don't think it's shipping right now. If you purchase today, I would. Come here, Riley. Come here, Riley. You're messing with the camera. I know you want to be part of the camera crew, buddy. I don't see anywhere on the website where they're actually listed shipping details for this. I think they're trying to figure out what it means for the backers. Let me make sure I get this filament temperature adjusted here. All right. Boy, let's get this filament temperature adjusted, buddy. 2400. That would be outrageous. Hey, come here. Come here, mister. Come here, mister. Did you just wake up? Did you just wake up? Wake up from your nap. There you go. Good boy. But we got the filament temperature adjusted here to the proper one. Oops. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like when it doesn't load properly, I didn't get it into the extruder all the way. Now I have to stop it again and restart it. Now that it's in the extruder all the way. I don't know if you guys have had that problem or if that's a me problem. But I do have that issue when it comes to loading filament. I don't remember having that issue with any of my other printers, though. So I'm hoping that's not a me problem. Get a little bit of this off here. See if any of you guys have that problem too. Do you guys have that issue where you don't push it in far enough for the filament loading process? Oops. I see Andrew says yes. I put it on a poll too, just in case. Um, I'm hoping that gets fixed with the chroma kit arrival. That should be an automatic goes in and out. Iceman 74, you say on your LU Centauri Carbon, did you get the very first wave of LU Centauri Carbons or the second wave? Or after that? Because my first wave Centauri Carbon, the filament went in through the back. Like it goes for you guys, it would be, I have to load it this way from the back of the roll. But my next one, the second one I got, loaded from the front, which made it much easier. Okay, so you got the same one I got. So that first one, that first wave that came out, that one's a pain because it's hard to get it to go through the filament tube. And when you do get it to go through there, it wants to unspool off the side of the spool and then you get a mess. So, but I think again, I think that'll change too with the AMS that they're going to release, whatever they're going to call it. I'm sure they're going to release it. I want to bet. I don't know because I don't have any insider information, but I think from that image that they LB posted, they're going to release that information on this next event that they're going to be. I think it's the first week of September. Uh, so I'm hoping we can get our hands on some of those. So no estimated delivery date. If I buy now, I'll have it printed. Uh, a lot of the um, Kickstarter backers still haven't gotten theirs yet. I think what Frozen is doing, I can't speak for them because I'm not the company, but my hypothesis is that they're getting them out to the Kickstarter backers as like the beta testers to have any finalized flaws or anything that need to be fixed. I'm hoping this live stream helps them, gives them some R&D information. All right, I gotta make sure I adjust that temperature again. Oh, that's weird. I don't have to adjust the temperature again because it must have saved it from the last time. I don't know. It's weird. But I think that's what they're doing with the Kickstarter backers. Just they're getting them out, slowly releasing them. Uh, I was one of the super early birds. I was in the 290s somewhere, 290s. I know I was before 300. Um, and I think once they get through all of us, they'll have a much more finished, polished product. And I think it'll be at a price point where it's competitive with your bamboos and your Elegoo Centauri carbons. Now, it won't be in the same tier as like that new stuff that Bamboo's releasing, like the H2S and the thing that they just announced today, the H2C. Those are probably going to be higher price point ones, but you're not going to have the color swaps or the purges anymore for at least the H2C. That's something I'm excited about. So we got a lot of things happening in 3D printing world. We got this new guy that's coming out, expands the build volume. I think it's still going to be in the budget printer friendly, uh, as long as you don't mind those filament changes. I think where the 3D printing world is going is the tool heads and the no waste or slash time wasted. Yes, it is only $7.99 right now, or $7.79 right now. And it's the biggest build plate that I currently have in our lineup. It's 300 by 300 by 300. There's no exclusion area that I've seen so far. The flying gantry is nice because it keeps the center of gravity low. That's what I like about the most. I have this table on casters, and if I were to have one of those printers on here, you would be able to see or even one of these, you'd see the table shake, but I could not touch the table, and it doesn't. I did some earlier in the live stream, and it didn't have any issues at all shaking the table, even when we were printing at the 600 millimeters per second. Now we're gonna get loaded here. Now that I actually got the filament in the machine, that probably helps. So now we're printing with the Elegoo PLA or PLA Elegoo White PETG. My theory is I've never printed with the eSun translucent PETG. Maybe it has some specific requirements on it. If that's not the case, my other theory would be is that not having the pentashield is a major difference. Because for my other machines, I have no issues printing with that same Elegoo PETG profile. Or even if I use the Sunlu profile for the Elegoo PETG, I still have any issue. Those two seem to be pretty close. Let's see if you guys can see on the live stream. Yeah, it looks like you guys can see it pretty good on the camera. I have it printed. I'm just trying to see if I get this or the SBO8 when the index is released. The SBO8, I don't know much about that printer. Let's look it up. SBO8. That's a Core XY 3D printer by Soval. So right off the bat, looking at that printer, the SBO8, they're advertising up to 700 millimeters per second. Phrozen has advertised that you can print up to 1,000 millimeters per second with this machine because they engineered it to have a low center of gravity. Optional chamber heating module. I'm trying to look and see what their build plate. Okay, that's a huge build plate. Whoa. The SBO8 is 500 by 500 by 500 millimeters. That's going to be a monster machine. Pardon me while I sneeze, guys. And it's an enclosed machine. Is it multicolor capable though? That would be my next question. I don't see anything on their website that advertises multicolor. Iceman74 says, yeah, the SBO8, I do love it, but it's a Tinker printer. I have a 0 and a Mercury 1, so tinkering is an issue. I mean, if that's your I guess you like to tinker with your printers and you don't mind it, absolutely. For me, because I like to print things for the different art fairs and the different like elementary school events to go to and things like that. The less and since I'm not home as much anymore, the less tinkering I got to do, the better. So our layer's going down great. There's no gaps in between the layer lines. Looks like it's going down pretty flawless. My hope is that we get a good print with this and we can give the community some information to go off of. Hey, this is the brand of PETG or PETG that we used on this printer, and these are the settings that we used. Try it out on your machine and see what it does. I would be getting it for the Bondtech index. I mean, sure. Okay, percentage is max. I'm really glad that I personally have backed this printer because of the stability and the design of the flying gantry. If Frozen can uh, get into this FDM world, get its foot in the door in there, and really like engineer these printers like they did with this flying gantry and think forward, I think they're going to be a major player in the game. So far, so good though. Definitely a much slower first layer, but that could be a good thing. Maybe for whatever reason, this is just me thinking out loud. Maybe for whatever reason, the eSun PETG profile doesn't work as well with this machine, and this profile does. I will say having the white filament is much easier to see when you're trying to examine the first layer. But I didn't have any adhesion issues. Do you know what the community's having issues with the PETG? Is it the layers? Adhesion? I think that's what was said before. I don't know how I remember. If that's the case, then I would definitely say I would definitely say use the hairspray because I literally am peeling it off when I go to take those first couple layers off. I have to restart the print. Nice picture looked like the second layer we're sticking. Uh, my second and third layers seem to be pretty fine. It was when I went to the infill. So that's what I want to see with this filament is if the infill does fine, then I know it was the filament profile. Maybe we're printing too fast. Maybe that filament has that brand has a specific requirement. I know this filament a little bit better. This brand. So far, so good. That first layer looks clean. All right, so now we should pick up the speed a little bit. It's our second layer, so that should be. And look who's got it straight up with their filament. The two that I have liked this so much so far are Elegoo and Sunlu. I don't really have too many issues with either one of those filaments. I've never really tried Creality's filament. Uh, if you guys want, if you do use Sunlu or uh, Elegoo's filament, I do have an affiliate code. Uh, so I'll put Sunlu's in here. Just helps out the channel a little bit. If I can spell it right. Yeah, my my two favorite filaments. I cannot tell. Man, I use so much LLU, PETG. Same thing with Sunlu. All the art fair stuff. All these brackets you see that hold these SCADAS panels on. All the cable guides are all made out of Sunlu and LLU PETG. Uh, it all anything that it's functional. I use their white or black PETG. I'll see if I can't get both of our uh, I think it's like a small discount. Our affiliate codes for both of those on our channel description too later this week. If I didn't just buy 10 rolls of any cubic PLA on back to school site, hey, I don't blame you. Uh, get it while you can. Those back to school sales are pretty important. We just got it's like 5 or 6 rolls of the Elegant refills. That a lot of the companies now are going switching to those refills that will work on the spools. Our second layer is glossy and glamorous. $8 a roll. That's incredible. I think the lowest I've ever gotten filling was 10 for a roll. Maybe someday when I grow up, I can get some sponsors for filming or at least some significant discount codes. Over here just doing my thing. Those back to school ones, though, I think, was it Bamboo that just did one? Either Bamboo or Elegant, one of the two just did a back to school sale too. That seemed to be a pretty big hit. All right, second layer's down. No bubbles, no like gaps. Going to the third layer. Okay, so we get some table wobble there, going back and forth that way. But this third layer is going down like a champ. It's hard when we're trying to help people figure out like what's going on with their filaments and stuff because people are all over the world. You don't know what their humidity situation is. You don't know what uh, you know. Do we live in a high humidity environment? Some things like PETG before it gets down to the next layer or up to the next layer. maybe some humidity is crept under there, and it keeps those two layers from bonding. That's what's important about the enclosures for the printers. Helps keep the humidity out of there. I'm printing the Jiri drawers for my workshop, so I need at least another 10 back. Actually, it's funny you say that. I am in the process of printing all the Gridfinity bins by K2 Kevin. If you watch our Monday night printing pretzels, I want to deck out that cart into Gridfinity bins. So I have tool storage, anything I print off there, I can put them in the bins and then transfer it to the travel trailer for our art fairs and stuff where it gets stored. I didn't realize how small that cart was going to be. Like 32 inches, like schematic wise in my brain, did not turn out to be 32 inches, but it works out pretty good. I'm excited to see how I get that AMS light into that car, either on the car or into it. I have the piece printed for it to attach it to the SCADAS panel. I'll tell you guys more about that following Monday. I think I missed a comment. How thick is the bed? Common problems have been with thinner beds. This build plate, I would say, is just as thick as like the stock bamboo uh, beds. Would you guys agree with that? Iceman and David, maybe slightly thinner, but not. I don't know if it would be that much of a difference. So once we get to the infill layers, and if we don't have any stringing or any not past experiments going on, I'll probably wrap up the live stream. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. So we're at the end of the third layer. I don't see any separations. I see all goodness here. As soon as we started the infill layers with that other filament, I could tell that some of the infill wasn't going down. It would just ball up. So let's see if this elegant filament handles it a little bit better. Our layer. Yeah, I don't see that occurring, so that's good. A good sign. Yeah, our infill's going down great. Congratulations, Iceman74, on that notification for your printer coming. All right, that's exciting. So by the next live stream, hopefully you'll be printing with us. Yeah, there's no issues whatsoever with this filament. So that you can replicate what I'm doing, it's the Elegoo PETG white, and I used the Sunlu PETG profile. For whatever reason, this version of Orca Slicer doesn't have the Elegoo version of the PETG profile. I might have to manually upload it. But again, that's the Elegoo PETG white, or PETG white. Specifically the Rapid PETG. Maybe that's the difference. Maybe it's the rapid, like, the faster printing one. And I used the Sunlu profile. Yeah, I don't have any of that infill not going down properly. Uh, I haven't seen it like when I flex. Havoc is asking. Guess I'm asking, am I going to have to buy an aftermarket bed because the bed warps? I'm going to have to say I don't think so. I've had this printer for 2 or 3 live streams now, and I flexed it pretty good, and it goes right back. The magnet's really strong to hold it in place, and it's reversible. So if it does begin to bend, you can print on the other side and maybe get it to work back. But I haven't had that issue yet. I'll try to keep you guys updated on that as I continue printing with it. Andrew Crab, is Elegoo and Sunlu the same thing, or are they different manufacturers? Elegoo and Sunlu are completely separate companies. I'll put their website in here, elegoo.com. So this is Elegoo. This is Sunlu. Elegoo is more, they started out as resin printers, and Sunlu does resin, like they make more of the materials, but Elegoo has gone on to do their own materials too, which I'm very proud of them to do because they take really good quality or pride in their quality of service. Like anytime that I've ever had an issue, I think I've only had one issue. I reached out to their customer service and they sent me a replacement roll of filament because I had I had a tangle on it and it caused one of my prints to fail in the middle of the roll. They were very good. Their customer service is great. I have really haven't had any issues with some at all with the tangling, so they're also great. Those are the two websites that I order their from. The 3D printing mates for Sunlu, they're getting ready to do their AMS heater. I'm super excited about that. I have 3 of those on order because I am going to upgrade all of my original AMSs from Bamboo so I can heat while I print. Not the actual plate, but the actual, or not the plate, but the actual part that gets heated under the magnet. Um, I don't think so because I'm looking at it and it's very, very thick. I'd say it's probably a 1/4 inch thick steel, or maybe it's aluminum metal. It's mm, the best thing I could say is it's probably thicker than a roll of Eloise uh, filament for their cardboard spool, the wheel part of it. It's pretty thick bed. I don't think you're gonna have any issues with it warping. There's multiple of bolts that hold it in place, so I don't think that's gonna be an issue at all. I don't know if it was like Esun and Inland. Esun manufactures both. Inland is just micro centers gram. I don't know on that one, Andrew. As far as I'm aware of, they come in totally different, completely different packaging. I don't see any of the colors overlapping. Like their green and Elegoo's green, two completely different like pigments. So if they are the same company, that's above my pay grade. Yep, we have got a successful print so far. I would have to say. If you guys see any more of those posts, you can link them to this. I'll have this posted on Friday, but I'll make the live stream available for everyone. I want to do some editing so that I can make this more helpful for people. So, but yeah, infill's down. Now we're getting into the gyroidic infill, so we're like wobbles. I hear a little bit of that. Hi, Momo, but it's looking great. I would say this filament, if you see somebody struggling with PETG, this filament is what I would point them to. You could probably also point them to Sunlu. I don't have any Sunlu right now, so I can't confirm that. But yeah, We've got this adhered. The infill layers are doing great. We're not having any of that peeling. It's bonding really well, even without the enclosure kit. I'll try Sunlu with Orca. See if I can get that to work. Thanks, Andrew. I appreciate that. See if you can get that. Use their Sunlu profile with Orca and see if you get the same results. What I've noticed between the two filaments is the Elavoo is going to be slightly more matte versus the Sunlu is going to be a little shinier. That's the only two differences that I noticed. But all right, if you guys haven't checked out any of our other videos, check them out. Especially our Monday night one where we're doing that tiny carp. If you haven't checked out our Patreon, if you want to support us that way, you can. And I can get you anything that you want to request off to be printed. I can get that out to you if you're a member of a certain tier. It helps out the channel. Like, subscribe, follow us on Facebook. Until next time, guys, be glorious.